Hello everyone, and welcome back to John Bill's Iconic Models. Okay, so as you can see, the Spitfires had a total strip down from what turned out to be a broken cable, as this last week's turned into so much more. I didn't think I was going to have time to dedicate to this Spitfire, but the trouble is, I spent £1,000, around £1,000 this model, so I think it deserves at least a week of my attention. So like I say, so in today's video we're talking about obviously that broken cable, why it broke. I've actually found some footage of actually why it broke, a little mistake by myself as well, and also in today's video I'm going to be showing you how to fit this power mod from Partwork upgrade. This has been sent to me after I spoke about it in last week's video, so I'm going to be showing you how to fit in that, because a lot of why the cable broke is a lot to do with obviously bad batteries. So like I say, so we'll get something like this that's going to power it all the time, every time once it's turned on, I think we'll be fine. Okay, so I want to talk about the cable that broke. So like I say, that's why this video has had to become like it is, why I've had to strip it all down to get to the cable. And so I actually took the old cable out as well. I actually made my own little cables. But as I was examining the cable that I took out and the cable that we got, a brand new one, I actually think in my own error, I actually refitted the original cable that we got when we first built this gearbox many weeks ago. Yeah, so actually now it has actually got the replacement metal cable in this gearbox, and that's had around about 50 test flights, and that's absolutely working fine. And I think this one will probably be okay, but the trouble is with this one, I don't think, if anything goes wrong with what little video I'm going to show you now, is I think if anything goes wrong, where obviously the base is trying to run through a cycle and it doesn't have enough power, I think that's when it's got a good chance to break. So I'm going to show you this little video now that obviously it's just when I wanted to do the final montage, it kind of captures what happened. Okay, so in that video you just watched, what happens, well, I didn't realise, because I was using cheaper batteries, when you start this cycle, obviously the back end of the plane comes up first, and then it kind of levels itself off, and then the front end of the plane comes up. But because my batteries were starting to lose power, the wheels were still pretty much being pressed into this baseboard. So as it tried to open up the landing gear, why? Because the front motors had not raised the Spitfire, it was being pressed when the motors tried to open it. So I believe that's why the original cable broke. So like I said, I mean, there is a possibility that you don't actually know how good your batteries are, so when it tries to do a cycle, if that happens to you like it did to me, then that's when the original cable has a good chance of breaking. So that brings us on to this next part. This is why I'm going to fit this power mod. So like I say, so you pretty much, whenever you turn the power on, it's on. Okay, so I've took the top covers off and I've removed Spitfire. That's pretty much how this base is going to be now. So this power mod, it's obviously it's a built modular. We don't have to worry about any of that. That's all taken care of for us. All we really need to do is worry about these 3 wires. And like I say, it's a very basic installation. Anybody can do it. All we really need to do is probably just attach this main power cable into the motherboard, and all we need to do is fit this indication light. So we need to do a little hole in the case, and also we need to just fit this little adapter, this female for the taking the adapter. So pretty much all case of fitting 2 holes, plugging it in, and we should be good to go. So what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to snip off this little cable tie so I can get the cables out. Kind of look at what kind of lengths of kind of wire we got, and then we can kind of figure out exactly where it's going to go. So I think personally for me, because I need to get this power cable up to there, and then I'm going to have my probably wire cable there, and then a little power on indicator cable there. I think a good location for my base is absolutely there. I think that'll be absolutely fine. Okay, so once you're happy where this placement of that box is going to go, like I said, just making sure that you've got enough room to get to your circuit board, and that's fine. And you've got enough room that you're going to be catching any of these motors. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to apply a little bit of hot glue to the back of this. I'll stick it down. That'll be fine, just keeping that in place. Okay, so you got two cables, you got a power indicator light, but that's entirely up to you for this one. There's no reason why you can't just leave it in the inside the case. But me personally, I'm actually going to have it just coming out through here. So you get a nice little sleeve that you have to drill a hole for if you can do this. And the thread on this first one for the light, that's 7.4. So you could drill that 8. What the trouble is, that's it's only 8.8 right on the end, so there's not a lot of play left on this plastic once you've drilled the hole. So what I'm going to do myself, I'm actually going to drill it with a 7mm hole and then just slightly open it out to get the 7.4. So this is just a 7mm once wood bit. It's only a little bit of cheap plastic, so I've got no problems with that. So it's up to you what you want to do now. You can kind of mark it out. You could be quite anal, get it all marked out, get it exactly where you want. Well, I'm going to pretty much just go kind of middle of this panel and try and make it look like it's some kind of alignment with the same height of the switch. Oh, that's around about there. So all I'm going to do, you get the fine little point on these wood bits, kind of stick it in, making sure that it looks like it's the same similar height. And then okay, so remember when you drill anything like this, is to not leave your hand directly behind that when that point is going to come through. Okay, so because you drilled that hole 7mm, all you need to do now is just slightly hole it out slightly just to make it up to 7.4. And all I'm doing is using a flat and a round file. Moving it around until hopefully that part will just pop through, just like that. Then from the back side, all we do is take a little washer, put the cable in, and then just tighten that up. And that's that little indicator light fitted. Okay, so all we need to do now is do the exact same on the other side, exactly where you want this power cable to be. So this part you need to kind of ask yourself how you can display it. I'm actually going to display my Spitfire in a corner, so it's going to be Katie corner. So what I want to do is make sure that I don't have the power cable right in any of these corners, because then if you're going to put it up against a corner anywhere, you'd have difficulty fitting it. So I'm going to kind of go around about here somewhere, and that should be absolutely fine. And figure out where you kind of want it. I want it right about there somewhere. Okay, so this cable's slightly bigger. This is a 7.6, but we've got a lot more flange. We've got a lot more flange that's going to put up against plastic, so we can afford to drill that at an 8mm. So just on the inside of this cable, on this case, we've got all these cables running there. So the best thing to do is kind of pop them out a minute, and then just push them behind there. Just as we drill through, the last thing we want to do is catch any cables. That's kind of the look we'd kind of have with this Spitfire build. So then same again, just checking cable length. And I'm going to drill it about there. Same again, make sure you get rid of your finger out of the way. This cable should kind of go through no problems. So no big deal this time. Put the little washer and the little nut on the outside. Just get a few turns with proper size spanner if you have one at hand. If not, use some pliers. So that's now the power cable fitted, so we can just plug the extension in from the outside. So all that's left to do now is just pull out the power cable from the batteries. That's that one. It goes up into the top right corner, and then all we need to do is just fit this power cable from the power mod, and that just clicks in there, and that's one very simple power mod. So I have to plug it in the power cable from the power mod. That's pretty much everything fitted. So all we can do now is just put the cables back on, plug it in, and see if it works. Okay, so I'll put the covers back on. I'll put Spitfire back on. What I want to tell people is always be mindful of these columns that obviously lift the articulate the Spitfire, because sometimes they can actually not be sitted quite well and actually cover the landing gear cover. So obviously when it tries to come down, they are blocking that. So always be mindful of that. Sometimes I put that on myself a few times and I've actually adjusted it. Okay, so pretty much all we've got to do now is just try this power mod. So we get a plug that's supplied with a kit as well, which is handy. So where I drilled that hole and fitted that power plug, so I'll plug that in there and just find my nearest power outlet, which is just down here. Okay, so now we've plugged it in, we've got a nice little indicator light coming on. It tells us we've got full power. So then now we just turn the base on like we would do normally, and it just goes through its cycle like it would do. Okay, so all I'm going to do now, turn the little remote on like I would, and then just press to start up. As you can see, that works absolutely perfect. So I'd say, so if anybody would like to get this power mod, you get that from partworksupgrade.com. I'll put a link in the description from the video, and I just think it's it's so much going to be so much easier than messing about with replacement batteries all the time, because once you've got it, you've kind of got it. It's cost $32.99. Like I said, I mean, you consider I spent £18 on replacement Duracell batteries, plus I spent an original £9 on just some cheap batteries when I first started, and the cheap batteries were actually probably one of the reasons why the cable broke in the first time. Yeah, so if you'd like to pick one of them up, like I say, I wouldn't recommend anything that I don't believe in. I mean, I think after 3 years of these videos, I think people trust what I say and trust my judgment, like I say, so I'd never recommend anything I didn't think was worth it, and I absolutely think this is worth it. So I kind of thought I'd done, and this is obviously all depending on yourselves now whether I'm done or not. All I'm going to do now is I'm going to go away. I'm actually working on the actually painting all the engine bay. Like I say, I've re-glued that, because what I'm trying to do really close down these gaps or all the panels as they line up. I've had a few things, because a lot of them, I think the problem is it's very front end heavy, and it just a lot of engine side, because there's nothing mechanical that kind of joins it pretty much from the midsection of the plane right to the propeller. There's nothing that kind of mechanically holding. There's a few parts when you bring panels in, and then that top cover there, but there's nothing that really rigids it all together. So like I said, this next week I'm going to kind of just have a look at it and just try and close all these gaps myself, plus obviously finish off building the fourth engine actually. So let me know if you'd like to see that. Then let me know. I say I don't do videos anymore that people aren't going to be bothered in. So yeah, just let me know. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like I say, if you've kind of been watching my channel for a while and you kind of enjoy these kind of videos, and if you'd like to take your support for the channel to the next level, I have got a Patreon and I've also got channel membership, and just that little like £1.99 for channel membership or 99p for Patreon, it does really make the difference, because it means when I have to buy these kind of things, like say I just have to rush off and get some new drills because I realised I've not got a 7mm drill, so instead of like hunting the shed for, I just went and bought a new pack of drills. But it just, like Patreon and channel members, just helps me pay for it. Like when I had to buy £25 worth of batteries, if I didn't have Patreon and channel members, I wouldn't be able to afford them at the minute. So anyway, thank you all for watching. You've all been brilliant. I'm really happy with the response I've had for these last couple of videos. And like I say, it's in your hands if I make another one. If not, then you'll see me probably working on the Titanic, or yeah, I've got some other projects coming up. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.